Today we're going to talk about a question I get asked about all the time, which is where should I go for a drink? And for someone who's lived in Reno for a long time, the scene for bars and breweries and where to go to get a cocktail has completely changed. And so today what we wanted to do is bring you some of our favorite spots. As you guys know, I'm not a huge drinker. I'm not out a lot in the evening. So what we did today is we brought in one of my good friends, Brian Kelly. So it's Brian and Brian today. And we're going to talk about some of the places that we recommend that are our favorites. This is not an all-inclusive list. So for those of you that are watching, you want to make comments and add some to the list, by all means, please share away so that people that are watching this can see some of the places we're talking about. So Brian, first I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so I think we're going to talk about bars first and some of the places that you like to go and some of the things out there that people might be unaware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. So many bars, right? And like you said, it's not an all-inclusive thing. It's just, I have a few places that I enjoy going to, and there's reasons why. So number one, top of the list for me, there's a place that's downtown called Dog Tavern. Cool, small kind of place. There's maybe 10 bar seats, always a low-key vibe, especially for being downtown.
I'd say it's right there, right where you throw axes. It's right across the street from
axes. Right, axes. Yeah. And for whatever reason, it stays pretty chill and low-key, which is what I enjoy at a bar. I like to be able to go sit at the bar, talk to the bartender,
right,
and just, have a couple drinks and be on my way. But that's kind of the vibe I like, so that really what entices me to go there. And I've gotten to know the bartenders. The owners are really great. They're actually from San Francisco. And they actually have 4 bars in town that they own.
So there's 4, because I know when I looked some of these up, some of the ones I wasn't familiar with all of them. Some of them do have multiple locations. So I know for a lot of people that come visit that maybe stay downtown, some of these are downtown locations. But for people that live here, I know areas in Sparks and South Reno, there's more than just the one location that a lot of times is kind of the one they're known for. But some people don't know about all the other spots that they might be able to find the same thing.
The owners, they have sister bars, so it's not another Dog Tavern. It's just other names. But seasonal cocktails, they use fresh ingredients. One drink that might be on the menu this month won't be on there next month or next season, or depending on how often they change it. Classic cocktail for me would be a whiskey sour. I love with the egg white, just kind of get a little nice frothiness on the top. So that's just my classic go-to from them. They just do a really good job on it. One of their gin cocktails right now is kind of one of their popular options for their seasonal fall. The classy kind of upscale cocktail, but kind of low-key vibe.
I would say, I think you always learn a lot about somebody depending on what kind of cocktail they drink or what they order. I would have never guessed that would have been your drink.
Yeah, whiskey sour, old-fashioned, kind of classic cocktails are kind of my go-to. Okay. And then they have a really good bourbon selection if you're into, having a nice whiskey and stuff. And they have very reasonable prices for the bourbon enthusiasts that are out there.
Okay. And this would be good for people, like I said, if you're staying downtown, there's a lot of stuff going on in that same exact intersection that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the movies or throwing axes. And even where you throw axes, they have a bar in there too. It's a Nevada thing. Let's throw axes and drink together.
Right.
But yeah, the restaurant right across the street's actually got really good food.
Liberty.
Right. That's attached to it. So there's a lot of good stuff right in that same intersection where you literally could just walk around and see.
Yeah. And then you're
quite a few places.
Yeah. Sorry. And then you're 3-minute walk from 5-minute walk to the hotels, Legacy and El Dorado.
Or if you go the other way, you're right there in Midtown. There's a lot of good food options right there for you as well. So, all right. So what's another one?
All right. So if we're going to talk, if you go that way towards Midtown, right at the river, because they're basically 1 block from the river.
Right.
Blind Dog. So then you have the Eddy. The Eddy is basically this cool outdoor bar. It's storage container kind of built, which is cool. They have 3 different storage containers that lift open, and then they have their bar inside of there. So beers on tap, some cocktails, some liquor.
Is it all year round? I always think of the Eddy as being more a summertime outdoor kind of thing.
It is not year round.
Okay.
Obviously bad weather, they close down, mostly during the winter season, but mostly that spring, summer. If you want to hang outside, they have all the cool outdoor yard games, bocce ball, cornhole. They have giant Jenga, giant Connect 4. They have a pizza food truck on site that's stationary now. Good kind of wood fire brick oven.
I would say I always see people, it looks like a fun place to go in the summertime.
A third one that's kind of more unique would be Pignic Pub Patio. I hate saying the divey bar, but it's basically an old Craftsman-style home in the 1900s that they converted. It's 2-story. They converted to a bar downstairs, beer on tap, kind of standard stuff.
Is there anything going on upstairs? I've never been here.
Revision is one of the local breweries in town, and upstairs is Revision's tap room.
Okay.
A secondary kind of tap room from their normal location. So it's just 8 beers on tap, small little bar seating. But what's cool about Pignic, they have a patio section on the outside. They have barbecues, smokers that you can actually utilize and have bring your friends, family, barbecue it up, and then just get your drinks in the bar. So you kind of have this community grill yard area.
It's amazing how most of these places do have some sort of food option going on as we looked them up. And most of them, you should go to the websites and look, but most of them are open 7 days a week.
For like your whiskey bourbon enthusiasts, they do a thing called a break-even bottle. It's like the third Wednesday of every month, if they still do it every month, where they basically take a couple highly allocated bottles that they might have available, and they'll basically, their 1 or 1.5 ounce pours will be per cost of what their cost of the bottle is.
Oh, nice.
So it gives you a really good opportunity to have a really good high-end whiskey that might be a $600-700 bottle that you might buy.
Oh, shit.
That you might get for like maybe $10 a pour or something, which is
so it gives people an option to kind of see what's out there that they may not normally get a chance to drink.
Yeah. And some they pair with a piece of chocolate, so it's cool.
It's crazy because a lot of these, they have all kinds of events going on all year round. Like you really do need to check their websites and see what kind of things they have going on, because it's not just your classic go have a drink kind of places that you used to see. Now they've definitely turned it much more into sort of semi-event kind of spaces, and like I said, it's food and all kinds of options going on.
Yeah, and a lot of these places do like their anniversary every year, so they always like throw some kind of party in the heart of Midtown. You have Rum Sugar Lime, or what we call RSL, and that's kind of your really cool rum tropical cocktail bar. Nice real long bar, I don't know, 15-20 seats maybe at the bar. They have some tables around as well. Rum focus, kind of like tiki inspired, so like your classic like daiquiri is probably one of their popular drinks, the daiquiri, the painkiller, and then they have seasonal drinks as well. So it's pretty similar theme to all these bars, is the seasonal list, seasonal cocktails. So
yeah, I always feel like it's kind of the drink more you get when you're like in Hawaii or you're on the island somewhere.
Yeah. And then I'm also kind of a big rum guy as well, so they have a very nice collection of high-end rums. Couple distilleries that I like, they have a good collection of as well. Popular right now, like most popular because it's fall and winter, they do their hot buttered rum and they actually sell it like in a kit, so you can get their mix it with their rum that they use and stuff like that. So
it's a good gift for someone that drinks.
Good gift for someone for sure.
Make it nice and easy for them, something to bring over when they're having a party rather than the bottle of wine. Very good. And I know the last one that we had mentioned, I've been here, this is one that's been there a lot longer, is Death and Taxes.
Death and Taxes, also Midtown. Dark theme, you got black walls. I would say probably highest class cocktails in town, right? Like super upscale.
Yeah, I would say it's small.
Very small.
It's kind of moody in there.
Very dark and moody.
It's definitely a little different vibe than some of these other places we're talking about.
Yeah, so this is not the place you're going to go in and have a bunch of beers and like your like gin and tonic and stuff like that. 5 minutes to make a cocktail, real high class ingredients, always the freshest of herbs and stuff like that as far as like garnish. And
I kind of think of it as a place you go maybe before you're going out to eat or after you went out to eat, where you just go for a drink or two, like a little nightcap or something before or after. Before you're heading home.
Good nightcap or good pre-dinner drink. They have, one of the coolest things is they also have a bottle shop that is behind the bar, and it like this door opens up like one of the sections of the bar, and you can walk in the back and they have like bottle shop for sale.
So I've seen that wall move. I just thought maybe it was office space back there. I didn't realize you could actually go back there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some office back there. Obviously, I think you have to be, someone has to escort you in there, but they have a bunch of bottles for sale back there. So it's something that's not a lot of places like that will have, or let alone a lot of people even know about it, since it's pretty much hidden.
There you go. Well, this is kind of like our top 5. There's obviously lots of other options for people. So if this isn't on your list and someone that has a great place, by all means, make a comment, let us know what's going on. And now we want to kind of switch a little bit and start talking about more like what I think of more as bar/breweries. And it's amazing how many places in our area now are making beer. The first one we're going to talk about is Great Basin. That was one that's been here for like 30 years.
Their Icky IPA beer is probably their number one beer. Obviously, it's their like classic core flagship beer that they have. Standard like kind of West Coast IPA.
Well, this is the kind of one you might actually see when you're in other cities.
Yeah,
they're serving Great Basin beer in other places, not just local.
Grocery stores too. Yeah, they'll be in like Whole Foods and stuff like that. You can get. And some of like their unique stuff, they do like Chili Beso, which is a seasonal beer, which is basically like a Mexican lager that's like infused and spiced with like jalapeno and stuff. So you get a nice little like spicy.
The days of just getting a Coors Light or regular beer are like long gone.
These breweries that love to push the envelope is why I like some of these breweries, just because it's not like your normal, like, just not your normal beer.
Well, even just the cans. It's like artwork on the cans anymore. It's like it used to be just 12-ounce cans. It was your standard kind of beer can with your company logo, whatever it is. Now, you can walk somewhere, there'll be hundreds of cans on a wall somewhere, and you never know. Like half the time, it's like hard to tell what the beer is versus the can.
Well, and speaking of like the art on the can, so another place that I enjoy is a Lead Dog Brewing Company. They're downtown on 4th Street. They actually feature a lot of local art and artists. So a lot of their 4-pack cans that they sell is like there's a local artist that have like helped design the label and the can art, which is there's some really, really cool stuff out there on the cans.
Well, I was telling people is like if you go to these companies' websites, which we obviously did a little looking around on some of these before we start talking about all this, and it'll tell you the stories of these places, how they came about, who is doing the artwork on some of the cans, or even some of the artwork that might be in the walls in these breweries. And some of the stories are actually it's a pretty cool thing that they've come up with. It's not just about just beer. It's about trying to do it locally and inspiring some people to get involved with that stuff.
And also with Lead Dog, the master head brewer at the time, so I think they opened like 2017.
Right.
One of the youngest brewers in the United States.
Oh, wow.
He was like 21 when he started brewing.
Right out of the chute.
Right out of the chute, right? Yeah. Why I like to go there, like my favorite beers that they do are these stouts. Core one they always have, flagship, is like a peanut butter stout. I'm a big peanut butter guy, so their peanut butter stout is exactly what you would expect it to be. And then some off like seasonal ones, they do like a cookies and cream, and they do like a churro cinnamon stout, which is just crazy.
It doesn't even sound like beer anymore. Yet I don't go in breweries a lot. I'm not a huge beer guy, but it makes me want to come try some of this stuff now. It's like you just want to get a little flight of shots of beer and check it all out.
They're fun, and that's what I love about the beers. Like they're so unique. And speaking of, I guess, unique, I guess the next place that why I like it's called Imbib.
Okay.
It's on 2nd Street downtown, and they're really known for their barrel-aged beers, like their sours, and then they do a lot in like bourbon barrel-aged, so kind of high octane, high alcohol, like in some of these beers, especially like aging in the bourbon barrels. And being a bourbon guy, like you just kind of get a little essence of bourbon of whatever barrel that they're brewing it in and aging it in afterwards. But like they'll do like a cucumber key lime sour, which sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
It's crisp. It's like less than 5%. It's a good like summer, like easy drinking.
As odd as some of these may sound, I always tell people the same thing I kind of deal with food is if you've never tried it, give it a shot first before you just automatically assume, well, this is strange or this is weird. It's kind of one of the rules I have with my kids with food. It's like, I'll tell you what it is, but taste it and eat it first. If you don't like it, great. If you like it, maybe you just stumbled upon something that you're going to really enjoy. And it's funny because even just in the last few minutes, some of these beers and things, like I think of that more as a cocktail, but they're sort of vibing them together and making it a very interesting mix.
Yeah, the sour beer game, like just some of these places that do it, like that's what really interests me is because they really push like the uniqueness in their beer when it comes to like a sour.
It's funny you talk about this stuff because I was not a huge beer connoisseur. And it's funny because, as you guys know, my girlfriend lives up in Yakima, Washington. And honestly, that's where most of the hops for all these beers are grown. If you drive through there certain times a year, it is the strangest thing to watch how hops grow and how all this stuff works. And so because of that, they have a lot of beer places up there in Washington too that talk more and more about this. And so I'm learning more about how many different kinds of beer. I mean, I remember in college, it was like regular beer, light beer, dark beer. That was it. Malt liquor beer for all, right? And now there's hundreds. So like the next one we want to talk about, which is a place I've actually been a few times, is Beer NV.
Yes.
Which is in south part of town, at least the location I've been to. And again, a lot of these places have multiple locations, but you walk in there, there's hundreds of options.
Yeah, and what's cool about Beer NV, like I think whatever, it's like 62 beers on tap. It's all categorized from like light to dark and everything in the middle. It's cool because all their display, their screens for their beer, it's all digital. So it's like, say what the alcohol content is, it says how much left is in the keg. So like when it was just freshly tapped, or it's like almost to be empty.
See, I did not know this.
Like, so if you frequent there, then you'll know like, oh, I really like this beer. You go back and you can see like how much of the tap is left. Like, oh, I might need to get one more before I won't find it again, or they won't have it again. So
I just know they have a ton of options in there. And for a short time, I had a buddy who lived with me for a few months, and we went there a few times because he's a huge beer guy. I saw cans of beer in my fridge. I didn't even know what they were. And he's taken me in there a few times. And honestly, all the stuff you just talked about, I didn't pay attention to. He just knows I kind of go towards more of the lighter thing. And I just order me something and we'll just give it a shot and try it. So I tried a lot of beers that way.
About the beer, what's nice is choices from like all over the states, other countries. So you really get a nice vast variety of like choices in one place.
Yeah, I'll say they definitely have a big variety of options for you. So any other places we can think of? We gave you basically 5 breweries and 5 more sort of cocktail places.
You have Pinion Bottle, so another place where you can get a lot of variety from local stuff to out-of-state stuff. And then they have a huge like section of just like bottles to go from all over as well. So
like my kids are both country, so they like just to go get a regular country kind of beer, for lack of a better word. When you think like most places we're talking about are a little more all over the board, is there any more just like the standard, I just want to get a classic beer kind of place?
I mean, even just another brewery, like you have Revision, which is local in Sparks, but they're gonna have like all your
standard stuff.
Like it's all their beer, but like if you want like that classic lager, the classic light blonde beer, you want the classic like IPA, or you get into like the hazy and New England IPAs and stuff. So like for your classic like Coors Light or something. I mean,
just buy that at the store.
Any casino bar, like.
So with that being said, there are lots of other places that we did not even mention here. The scene has dramatically changed since 30 years ago. We'd love to hear your comments of places that you like that maybe we did not mention. And so if you're enjoying the kind of content we're putting out there, by all means, comment below, like the channel. We love to hear from you, and we're always open to other people's suggestions. So Brian, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Brian.
And hopefully you guys will find a great place to go have a drink.
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.